I write a new story for you, not because the old ones ended badly, but because they ended before I learned how to tell the truth. This story doesn't begin with a meeting. It begins with a feeling I couldn't ignore anymore. You were already in my life when I realized I was rewriting myself around you. My words, my silences, my patience, everything started adjusting to your presence, as if my heart had quietly accepted you as part of its routine. That scared me, because I didn't plan for you. I didn't imagine you. I didn't prepare a place for you. And yet, here you are, between my thoughts, inside my pauses, hidden in every sentence I don't send. This is not a love story written with confidence. This is a confession written with honesty. I've written many stories in my head, versions where I stayed detached, versions where I left before things got complicated, versions where I didn't care this much, but none of those stories felt real. So, I'm writing a new one. This one doesn't pretend I'm stronger than I am. In this story, I admit that you matter to me in ways I don't fully understand, that your name feels heavier than it should, that your absence is louder than most people's presence. I don't know when you became important. I just know that one day, not hearing from you felt wrong, like skipping a step I didn't realize was necessary to breathe. And maybe that's where love quietly enters. Not loudly, not dramatically, but as a habit. I tell myself I'm just attached, that this is temporary, that feelings pass if you ignore them long enough. But feelings like this don't disappear. They wait in late night thoughts, they wait in unfinished messages, they wait in moments when something good happens and you're the first person I want to tell. I never said any of this out loud because I didn't want to change what we are. I didn't want to risk losing you by wanting you too much. So I stayed careful. I stayed controlled. I stayed quiet. But inside, I was already writing this story. A story where I stop pretending that you don't affect me. A story where I admit that I notice the smallest shifts in you. Your tone, your energy, the way you pull back without saying why. And yes, that hurts. Because caring gives people power over you even when they don't ask for it. Even when they don't know they have it. I don't blame you for that. This is my doing. I let myself feel. I let myself hope. I let myself imagine moments that haven't happened and conversations that may never come. And still, I don't regret it, because loving someone even quietly teaches you something about yourself. It shows you where you're soft, where you're afraid, where you're capable of more depth than you thought. In this new story, I don't make you a villain or a savior. You're just human, confusing, warm, distant at times, real. And I'm just someone who feels too deeply and loves too honestly. I don't know how this story will end. I don't know if you'll ever read it the way I'm writing it, with care, with pauses, with a heart that sometimes trembles. But I know this. I couldn't keep living in untold chapters. So I write a new story for you. One where I stop hiding behind strength. One where I admit that you changed me, even if you never meant to. One where my feelings are not a weakness but proof that I was alive enough to feel them. This is only the beginning. The rest of the story is heavier, more honest, more dangerous. And I'm still writing it one confession at a time. In this new story, silence is not empty. It is heavy. It carries everything I never said to you. There are days I type your name and erase it, days I start a message and close the screen instead. Not because I don't want to talk, but because I don't know how to explain what you've become to me. You exist in the quiet corners of my life, in the moments between tasks, in the pauses before sleep, in that strange ache I feel when everything is fine, yet something is missing. That something is you. I didn't intend to give you this much space inside me. It happened slowly, without permission. One honest conversation, one shared laugh, one moment where I felt understood, and suddenly you weren't just someone I knew, you were someone I carried. Sometimes I wonder if you realize the impact you have, if you know how deeply your words stay with me, how even your smallest attention feels significant, or maybe for you it's effortless, something you give without thinking. For me, it's never effortless because every interaction with you leaves a mark, not dramatic, not obvious, just enough to remind me that I care more than I should. I've tried to set boundaries in my heart. I've told myself not to read too much into things, not to expect more than what you're offering. I remind myself that people don't always mean what we feel, but feelings don't listen to reminders. They listen to moments. The way you make me feel seen, even briefly. The way your presence feels familiar, like something I've known longer than I actually have. The way my heart reacts before my mind has time to protect me. In this story, I admit something difficult. Loving you quietly hurts more than I expected because loving quietly means carrying everything alone. It means smiling while your heart is full of questions. It means pretending you're okay with uncertainty because asking for clarity might change everything. So I stay still. I tell myself that if I don't speak, I won't lose you. That if I keep this love controlled, it won't overflow into something messy and irreversible. But love doesn't like to stay contained. It leaks into my thoughts, into my moods, into the way I see myself. There are nights I ask myself if I'm being unfair to you or to me. If I'm creating a story in my head that doesn't exist in reality. If I'm holding on to something that was never meant to be held this tightly. And yet, when I imagine letting go, something in me resists because even with all the confusion, even with the imbalance, loving you feels true. It feels like the most honest reaction I've had in a long time. In this new story, I don't pretend I'm fearless. I'm afraid of wanting more, of hoping quietly, of being disappointed. But I'm also afraid of a life where I never allowed myself to feel this deeply. So I write, I write because it's the only place where I can be completely honest, where I can admit that you matter to me more than I let on, that sometimes I wish you'd choose me without me having to explain why, that sometimes I wish you'd see me the way I see you. This story isn't asking for anything. It's not a demand or a plea. It's simply a record of what loving you has done to me, how it softened me, how it challenged me, how it made me confront parts of myself I used to ignore. If one day you read this story, if you ever understand the weight behind these words, I hope you don't feel burdened. I hope you feel honored, because to be loved like this, quietly, patiently, honestly, is not something I give easily. I write a new story for you because you changed the way I feel, because pretending otherwise would be dishonest, because some connections deserve to be acknowledged even if they remain unspoken. And this story is far from over. The next chapters are heavier. They ask harder questions. They test how much the heart can hold without breaking. I'm still writing, one truth at a time. In this part of the story, I stop pretending that loving you is easy, because it isn't. Loving you feels like standing in the middle of something unfinished, not knowing whether to move forward or step back. Every day, I balance between hope and self protection, trying not to fall too deeply into either. But the truth is, I already have. I feel it in the way I hesitate before making decisions, wondering how they'll affect us even when there is no us to protect. I feel it in the way I hold back parts of myself, afraid that if I show too much, I'll scare you away. That fear lives quietly inside me. What if I care more? What if I always will? What if I'm writing chapters you never intended to read? These questions don't leave me alone anymore. Sometimes I catch myself waiting, not for messages, but for signs. A tone that sounds warmer. A question that feels personal. A moment where you choose me without me having to ask. Waiting changes a person. It makes you smaller in your own eyes. It makes you question your worth, not because you lack it, but because you've placed it in someone else's hands. I hate that I've done that. And yet, I understand why. Because when you make me feel seen, even briefly, it feels like coming home, like a version of myself that's calmer, softer, more open. A version I didn't know I was missing until you appeared. But love, I shouldn't feel like this. Much doubt. That's the realization that starts to hurt the most. In this part of the story, I admit that loving you has begun to cost me pieces of myself, my peace, my clarity, my ability to stay indifferent. I don't blame you for that. I blame my silence. I never told you how deeply I was affected because I wanted to be easy. To love, I wanted to be low maintenance. I wanted to be someone you could keep without effort. But love doesn't work when one person is shrinking. So here's the confession I've been avoiding. I want more than quiet affection. I want more than half presence. I want to feel chosen, not guessed. And one thing that makes me feel guilty because you never promised me anything. You never asked me to wait. You never told me to hold on. I did that to myself. That's the hardest truth to face. Sometimes I wonder if this story should end here, not because I don't love you, but because loving you like this is slowly teaching me what I don't want to become. I don't want to be someone who begs for clarity. I I don't want to be someone who settles for almost. I don't want to lose myself while trying to keep you, but I also don't want to erase what we have because it's real to me, even if it's undefined. So I stand at a crossroads. In one direction, silence, safety, distance. In the other, honesty, risk, possible loss. This is the moment every love story avoids writing. The moment where feeling deeply forces you to choose yourself or the connection. And I don't know what I'll choose yet. I just know that I can't keep pretending this doesn't matter. I write a new story for you, but maybe just maybe I'm also writing a new story for myself. One where I stop accepting confusion as intimacy. One where I stop confusing patience with self sacrifice. If this story continues, it will demand courage from me, from you, or from both of us. And if it ends, I want it to end honestly, because loving you taught me something important, that real love doesn't just ask you to feel, it asks you to grow. And sometimes it asks you to walk away from what you want in order to protect who you are. This story isn't finished yet. The final part will decide whether this love becomes something shared or something I carry alone and eventually learn to release. But I've loved you with all my heart. I've loved you in the quiet moments when no one else was looking, in the little gestures no one saw, like the way I look for you in a crowded room, the way my heart skips a beat when I see your smile, the way your presence calms me even in the stormiest of days. But this love has never been perfect, and I've never been perfect. For you, it's taken me years to understand that love isn't just about grand gestures or perfect moments or saying the right words at the right time. It's about the mess, the vulnerability, and the truth. The truth I've hidden from you for so long. I'm not a man of many words. I've never been good at showing my emotions, at being open about what I feel. But there's something I need you to know, something I've been holding back for far too long. I'm scared. I'm scared of losing you. Scared that somehow my imperfections, my mistakes, my fears will push you away. That you'll look at me one day and realize I'm not what you deserve. I'm scared that my love for you has always been too loud, too intense, too much. That I've overwhelmed you with my feelings without ever truly asking how you feel in return. I've given so much of myself to you, not because I expected something back, but because I thought that was how love should be. But what I've come to realize is that love isn't about giving so much of yourself that you lose who you are. It's about balance. It's about standing beside someone, supporting them, and being supported without losing yourself in the process. There are things I never told you, things I kept to myself because I didn't know how to say them, things I didn't want you to know because I was afraid of what they would mean for us. I never told you that sometimes I'm terrified of being vulnerable with you, terrified that if I let my guard down, you might not see me the way I want you to, that you might see me as weak or imperfect. And I know I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes. I've hurt you unintentionally in ways I can never take back. And for that, I'm sorry. But I need you to know that everything I've done with the best intentions. I've tried in my own way to be the partner you deserve. There are moments when I feel inadequate, when I see you shining, so confident and strong, and I wonder if I'm doing enough to match your energy, to match your brilliance. You are everything I could ever hope for in a partner. And sometimes I feel like I'm just trying to keep up, but I want you to know that I am trying every single day. I am trying to be better, to be the man you can rely on, to be the one who will stand by you, not because I have to, but because I choose to, because I love you more than I ever thought possible. Sometimes I wish I could tell you everything I'm feeling. Sometimes I wish I could lay it all out for you, all the parts of me I keep hidden behind a mask of confidence, the fears, the insecurities, the doubts, everything I keep bottled up because I don't want to burden you with them. But I'm learning slowly that true love doesn't hide, it doesn't keep secrets, it doesn't carry burdens alone. True love shares the weight together. I'm telling you this now because you deserve to know I love you. But more than that, I need you to know that you've never been alone in this. Even when I don't say it, even when I don't show it the way I should, I've always been with you, beside you, even when you couldn't see it. This message, this confession, it's all for you. A secret I've been carrying for far too long, hidden in the quiet spaces of my heart, waiting for the right moment to share it with you. And now, here it is. I still believe in love, and I still believe in us, in you, in me, in the future we're building together. This is my secret message to you. The truth I couldn't say before, the confession I kept locked away, but now it's yours to know, forever yours, forever us. I've spent most of my life pretending to have all the answers, pretending to be the man who doesn't need anything, who doesn't